Ladies and gentlemen, hope everybody is doing well. Tighten up. Got a good show coming. But welcome back to the Tighten Up Time podcast. I'm your host, Adam Raymer. As always, 100% appreciate everybody that is tuning in, listening, subscribing. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, send us your comments. We'll answer them all. We got a good show today. I got a great guest. It's Titans versus Rams week. I wish this was better circumstances, but I got a guy from downtown Rams. It's old Blaine Grisak. How you doing, buddy? How you feeling today?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to break this down and break down this rematch of Super Bowl 34.
Oh Lord, here we go. We're gonna bring that up, huh? The Super Bowl.
Have to,
Well,
have
we
to.
we can bring that up. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's always cool to have you know people from other fan bases come in and kind of look. I'm not a homer. Like I'm gonna tell it how it is, and I mean I'm gonna root for the Titans, right? But some serious shit went down this week for the Titans, and it obviously not looking good. It's very unfortunate that Derrick Henry is done. We'll just say for the regular season, probably. Um, which it couldn't have came at a worse time for us for this game coming up. Um, you know, I consider the Titans actually, and this is not me being a homer, one of the better teams in the AFC when Derrick Henry's healthy and playing. Now, I don't know where you go. What are your thoughts, man, on the Derrick Henry injury and what it's going to do for this game on Sunday night?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a heartbreaker for the Titans. Obviously, I mean, you can talk about the analytics and how running backs don't matter and all that stuff, but Derrick Henry's just on another level. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you can't just plug and play any running back and expect them to do what Derrick Henry does on a week to week basis.
yeah,
The Rams linebackers aren't their strong point on defense. Henry probably would have steamrolled through our linebackers, honestly, and Troy Reader and Ernest Jones. We're not the biggest up front, so there was a mismatch there to be had for the Titans, and they lose
right.
out very suddenly.
You say you're not big up front, but you got probably the best defensive player in the league on the line, man. Don't act like Aaron Donald's not going to wreak havoc on an offensive line. I mean, that guy's he is a freight train. I was worried about him with Derrick Henry, and now that we don't have Derrick Henry, I'm even more worried. I think our line can do a good job, but you're right. Derrick Henry accounts probably for 60 to 65% of the Titans' offense, and now I don't know if you saw. Obviously, I did a video on this too, but Adrian Peterson was signed by the Titans. He's been working out with them. We signed Deontay Foreman. And then we've got McNichols. I just don't think McNichols can be the lead back in any game. Honestly, he's great out of the backfield on screens and catching balls in the flat. But it's a huge detrimental loss for this game on a huge game too. Now I will say, going forward for us, our schedule is favorable. So if we can get through this game, we've got 3 or 4 games in a row that I think we can win without him and hopefully continue. But you are right, man. It's I was anxious to see him against Donald, and if and that defensive line you got another stud too, Jalen Ramsey. So I wanted to bring him up. He wasn't on our show notes, but I'm gonna bring him up. So hopefully you can come off the cuff. How big was it for the Rams to get that man?
Honestly, he's probably the second best defensive player in the league, right next to Aaron Donald, in my opinion. I mean, you can throw J.J. Watt in there, or not J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, sorry,
Yeah,
in that conversation. But
yeah,
I mean, as far as two of the top 5 defensive players in the league, they're right up there. The Rams are able to do so many things in the secondary just because they have Jalen Ramsey. I mean, you see
yeah.
these cornerbacks that are strictly on one side, on one receiver, and they lock down that side. And the Rams move Jalen Ramsey all over the field. They have him outside. They put him in the slot close to the line of scrimmage. They
Mhm.
blitz him. They do everything with him,
Yeah,
and I think that's what sets him apart from the other top cornerbacks
yeah.
in the league.
Yeah, I think you have the 1-2 punch. Honestly, T.J. Watt's great, but I really think you do have a 1-2 punch with Donald and Jalen. I'm anxious to see who they line Jalen Ramsey up on this week. If it's Julio or if it's AJ Brown. My guess is going to be AJ Brown. If it was me, but Julio's not. he's going to play. I don't know if he's 100% healthy, but AJ Brown for us is our breadwinner right now. And it'd be anxious to see because not when Jalen Ramsey's playing man to man on a receiver, not a lot of quarterbacks tend to throw his way. You know what I mean? Like that guy is a ball hawk. He can hit. He's great in coverage. He's great at zone. It's I unfortunately got to hear about him a lot from my coworkers because he went to Florida State. They're all Florida State fans, and all I heard was Jalen Ramsey. And I'm like, okay. And then he got to the NFL, and I'm like, holy shit, man, this guy's the real deal. And then he ends up getting to you guys. And do you guys believe in draft picks?
I will say I think they do because like I mean even though we don't have those top picks, I mean the Rams picked I think 7 or 8 times last year, and they average a 7 to 8 draft pick range even if they're not in that first round
Right.
area.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting philosophy, and it's really I do find it weird how like other teams don't use it either. And you know,
Yeah.
who cares if you're giving up a pick at 26 overall in the first round when
Right.
it's a crapshoot?
Right. Well, I was looking, and we talked before about statistically in this game, statistically looking at it, very similar in points scored a game, points given up a game, yardage, everything. It's very, very similar. Now, those stats for the Titans obviously include Derrick Henry. It's going to change. I was going to ask you, before you guys found out, and you guys have had time now to know that Derrick Henry obviously is not playing. Obviously, the game plan has probably switched up a little bit because ours probably is. We're not going to be pound the rock, um, and then play action pass like we do and get the ball downfield and let AJ Brown do some things and all that. That leads me to your quarterback, Matt Stafford. And I've been so impressed with him. I thought he was a great quarterback. Obviously, me being a Bama fan, my followers and everybody that knows me knows I'm a Bama fan. But I watched Matt in college, and you can tell that coming from Detroit over to you guys, one, that Detroit is a dumpster fire. I'm sorry if there's anybody that watches that's a Detroit fan. I'm sorry, they're a dumpster fire. But I always thought Matt Stafford was good. I didn't really know how good he was until this year. I mean, that man, it's like a total rebirth for this guy in your offense. And I think he fits your system well. I don't know, but just give me your thoughts on what Stafford has done for you guys and how his career is kind of maybe rejuvenated in LA.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. You know, all off season there were some in some in the media were like, oh, you know, he's 0-3 in the playoffs. He's never won the big game and all this. And it's like, who was he playing with in Detroit? I mean, that organization is a dumpster fire. He did
Yeah.
what he could. He did what he could with it. But you know, since he's been at the Rams, I think it just kind of shows that situation matters, coaching matters, and all that matters a lot for a quarterback. And they started a little slow, but he's starting to get more in sync with his receivers. And even though like they started slow, that doesn't really reflect on the stat sheet. I mean,
Right.
he was missing open receivers for the first couple weeks and was still putting up 300 yards.
Right.
I mean, he leads the NFL in passing EPA, leads it in passer rating, leads it in QBR. And you know he's right there in the MVP conversation, right there with Tom Brady, and he beat Tom Brady earlier this year
Yeah.
in week 3. So
Is
yeah,
his success here? Obviously, the guy's talented, right? Is his success credited to Sean's coaching and the system that he's in? Do you think versus what he had in Detroit, or was just Detroit just such a dumpster fire that you could look, man? Goff's over there. You guys got rid of Goff. He's over there. What are they doing? They're not. They haven't won a damn game yet. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And you know it's kind of interesting. You know when Goff was doing well in 2017,
Yeah.
2018, you heard this guy's a system quarterback. You know he's doing everything that he's doing was within the system,
Right.
and I think with Stafford. I think it's more of a partnership that both guys are getting the credit. Where McVay's getting the
Right.
credit for drawing up the plays, but Stafford's there too. You know, he's getting the credit for making the throws and making the calls at the line of scrimmage that Goff honestly wasn't making at the line of scrimmage. He wasn't making the checks, and
Right.
you can definitely tell that Stafford has an ownership of this offense, even though he's only been in Los Angeles for 8 weeks.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, and I'm like, man, this guy is like it's like a brand new Matt Stafford, and to get him on a team that's worth a crap, he's very dangerous. and we are very weak in the secondary right now. We've got a lot of injuries. We lost Farley for the season. Christian Fulton's out, who are two starters. I mean, we got Byard, who I think is one of the best safeties in the league. But just we're thin back there. That worries me because Matt Stafford can sling the ball downfield. So it's very worrisome. Something I want to touch on. You guys just got Von Miller. And one, is he going to play? Do you know if he's going to play? And two, how important is that to your defense now? Because you mentioned that your linebackers are not as it's the weak point in your defense. Does that improve? Obviously, it improves it, but what does Von Miller mean to that defense for you guys now?
I think it means a lot. He means a lot. Whether or not he'll play is still kind of, I think, up in the air. He did practice today,
Yeah.
but he was dealing with the ankle injury last week in Denver,
Yeah.
and then gets traded, and obviously having to learn a new system and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays and how much he plays.
Yeah.
But like as far as the edge rushers, though, Leonard Floyd leads the team with 6.5 sacks. He's having a really good year. And that trio of Floyd, Donald, and Miller is going to be when these guys get in sync in a couple of weeks after their bye week in week 10. I think it's going to be tough to stop. I mean, the Rams, they're going to be battling with Kyler Murray in the division, obviously, and maybe they'll meet in the playoffs. Going to have to get through Brady and Tampa Bay to make the Super Bowl. Rodgers and Green Bay, so they did that. They made the trade with that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also, like, on the edge, they have depth in Terrell Lewis out of Alabama. I'm sure you, being a Bama fan, you know who Terrell Lewis is.
Yeah.
And then Ogbenaya Okoronkwo is also having a decent year as well. So they have some depth on the edge, but Von Miller will definitely add to that rotation to help out those younger guys and give Floyd a compliment on the other side.
That's what I was going to say. Von Miller coming in, I think, for you guys is huge for leadership. He's been around the league. He's been a top linebacker in the league for a long time now. And I think that he can do that. I was just wondering if he was going to play. My guess is he'll be on a snap count. I bet he gets in because you can tell Von Miller, hey, go line up and go rush the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's Von Miller, bro. I mean, it's like telling Aaron Donald to do the same thing. Like, he's just going to do it, and it's going to happen. So, is there anything that you think that poses a problem for your team from the Titans aspect now that you know that Derrick Henry is not playing in this game?
Yeah, with
be honest,
Henry,
be honest, man. Don't sugarcoat it. If you're like, hell no, they suck. That's what it is.
There honestly, there's without Derrick Henry, there's not a lot that really scares me.
Yeah.
When the Rams lost to the Cardinals, they gave up over 200 yards on the ground. So I was expecting the Titans to have a decent day running the football.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, losing Henry hurts. I do think that even though the Rams have Jalen Ramsey, they do play a soft coverage. So I think that there will be yards there to be had for AJ Brown, for Julio Jones, for those guys. But the Rams play a very bend, don't break defense. So you're going to have to really work hard to get down the field and be okay not taking the deep shot and being okay just working really hard to get down in the red zone to get points.
You mean to tell me you're not going to be scared about 36-year-old Adrian Peterson running the ball?
Unfortunately, no.
Look, I did a video on that, and while I think it's an okay move because for what was out there, we weren't going to give up a bunch, and to sign him probably for, I don't even know what they did. It's probably a vet minimum. He hasn't played. There's a reason, though, he wasn't on a team, right? I mean, that's a reason he was sitting at home. So without Derrick Henry in this game, guys, it's going to be hard, I think, especially against a caliber team like the Rams. I mean, you're 7-1. I've been looking at power rankings a lot, and you guys are floating 1 to 3. To me, I think you're the best team in football right now. Honestly, I do. And now you add Von Miller, who, when he gets into your system and gets rolling, and again, Stafford rebirth. Another thing to mention too, your starting running back's not even here. It's Cam Akers. You know what I mean? So you get Cam back, which we talked about. If he comes back after week 12, I'm going to buy you a beer because that's freaking insane if that guy can come back from that. But What do you think your keys to this game are to beat the Titans? I mean, give me a couple, 2, 3 of them that you think you guys really have to do well uh, to beat us.
I mean, I love Ryan Tannehill. I think what he's done going from Miami to Tennessee, he's really rejuvenated his career there.
Yeah,
But I think it all starts with making him uncomfortable.
yeah,
He's thrown 7 interceptions this year.
yep,
The Titans have 11 turnovers. Like, if you can make Tannehill uncomfortable, and have him turn the ball over, I think the Rams have a really good shot of running away with this football game.
yep,
And then I think Tannehill loves to target the middle of the field, and Jalen Ramsey plays in the slot. So if he plays in the slot a lot, so if you can take away the middle of the field and make him go outside the numbers, I think the Rams stand a very good chance of making him uncomfortable and forcing him into those mistakes that will be detrimental without Derrick Henry.
yeah. Anything defensively you see from the Titans that poses a problem for Stafford or your O line or anything like that?
I mean, the Rams line has done a very good job. Rob Havenstein's playing like one of the top right tackles in the league right now. Andrew Whitworth is just as solid on the left side. So, but I do think
that man's never going to retire.
No, he's not. He's not. He's an Iron Man.
He's like Jesus.
But I mean, if you can get Simmons rushing up the middle and target the interior of that offensive line, break the pocket for Stafford. I mean, Stafford's more mobile than Goff was, so he's gonna be able to escape that to an extent. But if you can make him get on the move and knock him off his spot a little bit, I think that's an area you can
I think with us, there's a couple of things for us that I think to successfully beat Rams. One is to have Derrick Henry. Obviously, that's not happening. But I think our linebacking core is really good. Harold Landry is in a contract year for us, and that man is playing outstanding football right now. If I'm not mistaken, he's in the top 5 in sacks right now in the league, maybe top 3 even. But he's playing good. David Long and then Big Jeff in the middle. I don't worry about our front 7 as much as I do our secondary. And again, if our front 7 can't get pressure on you guys, Stafford's going to light it up. That unfortunately, that's just what's going to happen. Offensively, I don't know what to say right now because I don't know what's going to happen. Like we haven't seen this in 2 years. Derrick Henry hasn't had an injury that has kept him shelved for so long. So unfortunately, I don't know what to tell anybody in Titans world what's going to happen offensively. Hell, we could come out and Tannehill could go throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't know if that's going to happen. Be nice for me if it did, but I don't know offensively because honestly, we are pound the rock. I mean, the man runs the ball 30 to 35 times a game, and we're not going to get that out of our running backs we have right now, especially AP and Deontay Freeman. So I don't know. I can't even give keys to the game. The keys to the game is hopefully we can for the Titans are hopefully we can slow your offense down enough and score more points than you do on offense. Honestly, man, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's going to be going after this game. We might be able to see some things going forward, but give me a prediction.
Right now, I have the Rams 31-23 over the Titans. I think it's a close game in the first half, and then I think the Rams kind of pull away and take control in the fourth quarter. I am interested. I'll ask you this: is how much do you think last week affects you guys? Emotional game on the road against Indy in overtime, and then you lose Derrick Henry on top of that. Like, where are those guys at mentally?
Well, mentally, that's the biggest thing coming into this game with losing that. Are they going to be up here, and say, let's get this done for him? Or are they going to be down here like, holy crap, we had to sign 36-year-old Adrian Peterson to come in? Before going into last week, they were on a major high, obviously. I was at the Buffalo game when we won. My son was at the Chiefs game. So 2 huge wins. And then winning it against Indy gives us, in essence, it's a 3-game lead, but really a 4-game lead because we swept them. So I think they're coming into this game. I think it's going to be mixed emotions, man. I think some of them will be up high. Some of them might be down. I don't think they're going to come in and lay a big goose egg. I think they're going to come in a little fired up. But honestly, look, I run a Titans podcast, guys. And I'm gonna give a score prediction just based on because I don't know what we're gonna be like in the backfield. I'm gonna say 30-20. I actually had 30-24 Rams. And that's me being honest. I'm not trying to be a homer here. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna pick if Derrick Henry was in this game, I might flip it, or it might be a 30-27 Titans win for me. But I can't do it. Like, I don't know what's going to happen on offense, man. I know what our defense can do. And look, our defense at times is really, really good. Uh, Hence the Chiefs. Now, I don't know how good the Chiefs are. You know, they're not playing real great lately. But I mean, Buffalo came in when we played them. I think they were the number one offense and the number two defense, and we beat them. So, um, as far as where the guys sit, I think it's right in the middle, man. For the Titans, I think some of them are going to be ready to play, and I think some aren't. I think it's like, man, it's a huge loss. I mean, if you lose Matt Stafford, you know what I mean. It
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's
the same
over.
thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, like honestly, too, if we lost Ryan Tannehill, we have Logan Woodside, who, by the way, if you play Madden, I mean, I'm 40 years old. I play Madden, but he's like a 51. We have no backup, like zero. I love Logan Woodside too, by the way. He's a great kid, but yeah, I'm gonna go 30-24 Rams. I hope that the Titans prove me wrong. I hope they do.
I
I
mean,
hope that they
Mike Vrabel's gonna have those guys ready to play. That's what
Yeah, dude.
that's
If
what's
there's
gonna
one
be
thing
there.
about Vrabel, man, he's just an ass, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like, he's an asshole. Good coach though. He's done well for us. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to go 30-24. You're going 31-23. I mean, you can't go wrong. But again, you guys are a great team, man. Like I said, and I'll say it again, I think you're the best team in football right now. So it's going to be hard. Again, it's going to be in prime time too. You know what I mean? So, and it's there. It's going to be tough to win on Sunday for us. But man, I appreciate you coming on, talking a little Rams with me, talking Titans. If you want to, go ahead. I'll let you shout out where everybody can find you, find the show. I know that you do some things with the Downtown Rams, so go ahead and get your minute of fame in, man.
All right, no, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. It
Yeah.
was fun to talk Rams Titans today. You can follow me at Grisak DTR on Twitter, and then I'm the managing editor at Downtown Rams. So always looking to get some good articles on the website. So be sure to check those out, and I'll have some game previews coming up on probably tomorrow and Saturday.
All right. That's it, guys. I will be back probably. I'll probably do an instant reaction on Sunday. If you can, again, please hit the subscribe, hit the like. We're going to do some free cool like Titans merch giveaway when we reach a certain amount of subscribers. So until then, tighten up. Hopefully we pull this out. I'll see you soon.